after the final ticks of the clock were heard, it was Massimino's victory. The outcome of that game changed his life and affected everyone's connected with it. Some of the faces have changed, but the rivalry born from that game continues to grow. Today, in only their fourth meeting since then, Rollie Massimino's Wildcats shoot for another upset of Georgetown. It's NCAA basketball on CBS. We're live at the Capitol Center in Landover, Maryland for this Big East encounter between the Villanova Wildcats and the Georgetown Hoyas. Syracuse currently leading the pack along with Pittsburgh in the Big East. Heading back into the NCAA tournament, this is almost a must-win situation. For Georgetown, they're 15-4, still involved in the chase for the Big East regular season title. They need a win today. I'm working again with Billy Cunningham. And Bill, if there's a decided advantage, it goes to Georgetown because of Reggie Williams. What does Rollie Massimino do about him?
Well, Reggie Williams, Rollie Massimino has such respect for this player that he's going to look to throw several defenses at him, and I think the one we'll see the most of is a boxing one.
Here between Villanova and Georgetown. Rollie Massimino now in his 14th season with the Wildcats has won 263 games. He puts Doug West at one wing in his front court. Will open with Mark Plansky and a surprise freshman Rodney Taylor at 6'6", gets only his third start of the year. In the backcourt, the senior Harold Jensen is joined by the outstanding point guard Kenny Wilson. And look at the bench scoring, Bill, for Villanova.
Well, Verne, the bench has really got to contribute today, too. We see that they're scoring over 20% of the points for this Villanova ball club, but they're really going to have a good game today.
John Thompson now in his 15th season at Georgetown with a record of nearly 68%. Reggie Williams, the All-American, at one forward spot, joined by 6'4" Perry McDonald and Ben Guillory at center. And an all-freshman backcourt, Wayne Bryant out of New Orleans, joins Mark Tillman of Washington, D.C. And they, too, go to the bench.
Yeah, and you see what Reggie Williams does, and that 30.5% from the bench translates to almost 25 points a game, whereas the Villanova bench is contributing 14 points per game.
Like to keep control of the tempo. Guillory will jump against Doug West.
And I would think that John Thompson would want to come after this Villanova team, really apply a lot of pressure to get the tempo up where he would like it.
Kenny Wilson has control of the ball. Bounce pass inside to Rodney Taylor, the freshman.
And we see that they want to do this, and that's why Georgetown's coming out and playing that man-to-man.
Taylor misfires on the first shot of the game. Here comes Georgetown. Wayne Bryant lays it off underneath. The fake and the pump by Perry McDonald rejected, and Doug West comes down for it for Villanova. Villanova's only win here was in Georgetown's national championship year. They won by 2 in double overtime. The year before Villanova won the national title, you had Villanova winning the NCAAs in 85 after Georgetown won in 84.
You see this pressure that this Georgetown team is coming out and applying. Usually they get it going into the game, they start getting into the ball game, but they've come out and really established the pressure.
Air ball by Jensen, and then Taylor's rebound hits the underside of the backboard, so Georgetown. First point of the game, it's a 1-0 Georgetown lead as Guillory gets the basket and Jensen brings it across the timeline. Mark Plansky, number 31, back to Kenny Wilson. Look underneath for Rodney Taylor. Defensive job being done by Dwayne Bryant right now. Jensen, nice bounce pass, gets the return, puts it up, cans it.
Excellent ball movement going inside and out.
Reggie Williams will shoot for 3. That's an expected sight here in Landover, Maryland.
It sure is. Even when you score against this Georgetown team, you can't get a chance to give a high five or just congratulate the guy for scoring because they're going to be running right at you.
4-2 Georgetown, early moments of the game, 17:44 to go first half. Williams knocks it out of bounds. How do you like him as a defender?
Reggie Williams is a very smart player. You know, if you look at him athletically, he's a good athlete. I'd say Doug West is probably a better athlete for Villanova, but this young man knows how to play basketball. And, you know, when I meant, if you gave an MVP award this year, I don't think he'll win the John Wood, and that's probably going to go to Robinson of Navy, who's having a phenomenal year. But this young man, the only senior on the team, and what he's given to the team is just phenomenal.
West misfires, hits the rim, battle in the backcourt.
When you play against this Georgetown club.
Saw the graphic. Both teams off to a cold shooting start. Doug West gets it back to Wilson. That'll be for two. Hillary. And finally, it's McDonald at 6'4" who comes down with a rebound and a foul. No, traveling. 4-4 with 16:24 to go. First half. Doug West off the glass. Having problems getting started. Here's the quick outlet pass to Tillman. It's a 2-on-2. And he does a spin move, puts it up.
But West is trying to do a little too much offensively. He's just got to have a little more patience.
Gary Massey had come in off the bench. That line, Gary Massey, sixth man for Villanova, hitting 72% for the year.
Now, I wouldn't be surprised to see Rolly Massimino just go with 6 players today. If things are going well for him, he doesn't get himself into foul trouble. Whereas, we'll see Georgetown could be playing 10 players, so it'll be a tough game.
Massimino wanted a slow game. He's got it. Still has the lead and the rebound as Plansky comes down for it. 8-7 Wildcats lead. 14:25 to go first half. This may be in the 40s.
Yeah, well, that's what Rolly wants, and we can see John Thompson doesn't want it. That's why he's out here playing the man-to-man and not going to that zone defense.
At the top of the team, Massey gets it back to Wilson. Plansky loses it. There's another Villanova turnover. That's 2 for them. And Bobby Winston brings it up. Underneath, good pass. McDonald, that shot is up and in.
Boy, he is tough in that lane area when he gets that basketball.
Isn't that something? At 6'4", he just prowls down in there.
Yep. He's the best post-up player on the court today.
9-8, Georgetown leads. Massey with the ball, looks inside for Plansky. Kenny Wilson has it taken and contact made by Bobby Winston. Hook up. Wilson misses. Got about 3 spark plugs missing today. Sophomore point guard out of Jersey City, New Jersey. That's 1 of 2. That's for the 3-point play.
That was a senior shooting that ball because what he knew is he felt the contact, knew he was going to get the foul called, and just continued with the shot. Now watch him. He knows he's got Reggie leaning on. Goes up and is able to draw the foul. And lucky shot, though.
Interesting picture how he looked back and saw Williams and knew the contact was going to come. Now Jensen at the line. That puts the Wildcats back on across the timeline for Villanova. Doug West will take the jumper from the baseline. Tipped away by Williams and brought down by Charles Smith. Nice pass. How about that?
Oh, boy, wasn't it outstanding. Now, that last play, Doug West has a good open shot, but you got to have more patience. Villanova cannot take that shot in the first 10 seconds of, here's the shot. Now, that's a great shot for Doug West, but what happens when you miss it against this Georgetown team? It's 2 points at the other end of the court. Great touch pass by Reggie Williams.
Ronnie Highsmith gets the pair, and Georgetown has a 3-point lead at 15-12. Kenny Wilson draws the foul from Charles.
Will he turn around and get a technical foul? And I'm sure John is very conscious of that, and he's going to stay on top of that and see if it's necessary for him to get a technical foul.
Ball inbounded. Gary Massey. Jensen for 3. Will shoot 2. Highsmith gets the foul.
Joe, that great NCAA game, the championship, which Villanova beat Georgetown. Those things, these guys know each other so well, and they're not going to let the other guy get the upper hand.
Jensen gets the first of his pair. Plansky, as you saw, came back into the lineup. That's 2 for Harold Jensen and a 15-14 Georgetown was. Rodney Taylor really had to fight for the 2 points.
We'll see Rodney get the ball on the baseline. Now, Edwards gave him that good position on the baseline and did not move his feet defensively and allowed him to take the ball to the baseline. Good power move by Rodney Taylor.
Taylor was a highly recruited prospect out of Columbia, South Carolina. Suffered a stress fracture back in the fall. And as a result of that, has been slowed somewhat and is a little bit overweight.
You know, the theories are always great, Verne, what you're trying to do. You know, force them to shoot the ball from the perimeter, and the coaches have it all drawn up with the X's and O's. But if the players don't execute that, then it doesn't look very good, and that was an example right there.
4:38 to go, first half. Jensen posting up now on Jefferson. West. Jensen. That's a two-pointer. Largest lead of the game has been 7. And that's where it is right now, 37-30. And a foul called away from the ball. Reggie Williams picks up his second.
A tough ball right there.
Are you being nice for saying you disagree with it?
Yeah, I disagree. I disagree. If you're going to, let them play if you're going to do that, or you clean it up immediately when it happens.
I knew you'd find a euphemism. Lansky at the line, hits the first. Clearly a blue-collar laborer for this Villanova team, and has played very well all year long. 37-32, Georgetown.
Rick with Plansky.
I think you would call that a tough call.
Yeah, that was a tough call.
That's another tough call.
Tough call for the official. Oh, you're terrible, Bird.
Let's see. Here's Massey for 2. I just want to establish your reputation as a guy who lays it on the line. 3:09 to go in the first half, 37-34.
You know, there's an old saying, what goes around comes around.
Terry McDonald, number 10. Charles Smith, he's hit 2 out of 3 from out there. Thought about that one. Here's Williams. And it goes out of bounds, Villanova ball. The Wildcat is here and appreciative, and so is Rolly Massimino. Still got his jacket on. Tie is still tied. He swore to us he would not loosen his tie before the game was over.
You know the reason for that, though? More than anything, Rolly a few years ago in the Syracuse game at halftime all of a sudden had chest pains. And then he had problems with his stomach. And I think he realized, hey, I better get control of myself out here just for health reasons.
And he's done that. 2 more. 37-36 now. Villanova has cut a 7-point lead down to 1. They've scored the last 6.
And a couple more shots like that definitely will help his health.
I think a national championship helped too, huh? Smith, McDonald, Rolly doing a little coaching on the sideline. Shot clock at 23. Sam Jefferson, number 50, will take the shot. Don't think he wanted to. And the rebound strongly taken down by Doug West.
Very interesting what they're doing defensively, playing man-to-man, Villanova, but they're not playing Jefferson. Plansky is just roaming the lane area, just playing that, making sure nothing gets loose underneath.
Chance for the lead. Plansky puts it in. Wildcats on top, 38-37. It's an 8-0 Villanova streak.
They go through offensively at this point. I would look for Smith maybe to end up with the basketball and look to penetrate.
Bobby Winston has it right now. Jared Jackson. And a foul called on Connolly Brown, number 50. And Rolly is wild because he thought he had a traveling both of their efforts. 44-40 now with 2 seconds to go first half. Ball inbounded. Kenny Wilson. Off the rim. 5-point deficit.
Very simple how quickly they swung the basketball. It was bang, bang.
Blocked by Allen. Foul on Allen. The St. John's last Monday night, and about as emotional game as you'll see. I say that, and then I think about the Georgetown-Providence game was about as emotional as you'll see.
Well, in this conference, almost every game is an emotional game because you can't say, well, so-and-so is going to beat this team. It's just not working out there.
Jensen. Doug West missed his first 7 shots of the ball game, hit his last 3.
Very important now for going over to have good patience and get a good shot now because you just feel that this Georgetown team is just ready to explode, so they're going to have to hold them down and score a basket and do that job. And here they come.
7 Villanova turnovers now. Nice pass. Oops. Too cute. 6 turnovers to Georgetown.
They just got a little too cute with the basketball that time.
Doug West, lob pass to Plansky, up and in. Plansky's having a terrific game. Cats come down, 54-57. West gets it back to Kenny Wilson.
Now, something you mentioned, Verne, early in the game was that Villanova wanted to keep the ball under 70. Right now, you'd have to predict this score could be in the 90s.
That's right.
And the question is, does Villanova have the staying power and the offensive power to stay with this Georgetown ball club? And I don't think they do. I think they're going to have to really establish, maybe slow the tempo a little bit at some point and do a better job defensively.
And because of the West foul problem, seldom used senior Connolly Brown, number 50, has come in and taken his spot. Kenny Wilson lays it off. Plansky, two more.
Now that's what I was talking about, Kenny Wilson. The penetration, found the open man for the shot. That's where he's effective, and that's his strength.
Gary Massey knocks it away. And at last touch, Charles Smith, Villanova's ball. Wildcats playing with two starters on the bench with 4 fouls and still 13 minutes to go. John Thompson looks on. Jaron Jackson comes out of the lineup. So Georgetown has a defense that consists now of Charles Smith, Dwayne Bryant, Perry McDonald, Williams, and Ronnie Highsmith. Kenny Wilson. Turnover. Reggie Williams, take all the time you want.
You know, what happened was Kenny Wilson left his feet, wasn't sure what he was going to do with the basketball. He was hung up there and then just had to try and make a pass that wasn't there. And that ended up, that's a 4-point play.
And as a result, it's 59-56 with 12:54 to go. Long jumper for 2 by Harold Jensen. And here comes Georgetown quickly pushing the ball up to Jensen. 63-58 with 12:18 to go.
We're going to need the offense from Wilson, Jensen, or Plansky.
Back to Plansky. Jensen with a jumper.
Boy, he really feels it right now. He's on fire.
17 points, turnover Georgetown, Villanova's ball. It's a 63-60 ball game as John Thompson ponders what his team will do during the timeout. Did you see that shooting percentage, 82% in this half? They started off 5 of 17 in the first half. Doug West back in the lineup playing with 4 fouls. Gary Massey down in the low post right now. Plansky and Jensen, and West takes the jumper. Kenny Wilson gets the foul in the backcourt, number 3 for Villanova.
No power out here at all.
Kenny Wilson. Guarded by Dwayne Bryant, playing with 3 fouls. He's the only one approaching foul danger for Georgetown.
At the table, we have no monitors.
Wilson gets his 7th point of the ball line.
The other thing, I would expect this time down the court to see Villanova in their boxing 1.
Why now?
Well, because with Reggie Williams, you just don't want him to be the one to beat you. You want to force someone else to shoot the basketball from the perimeter.
And
weakness, but he's still shooting over 77% from the foul line, so you're not going to see him miss many of those.
72-67, another whistle. Not blessed with all the great natural skills of other players, but look at the effort today. 19 points so far. Make it 20.
From Wakefield, Mass. High School, and it's hard to believe they got him away from Boston College.
Substitution now. Anthony Allen out. Ronnie Highsmith comes back in for the Hoyas of Georgetown.
I would think Rolly Massimino would be a little shocked too to see his team, down 3 points and looking at the scoreboard, with the score being 72-69. Maybe in the last
didn't get the basket on the Williams shot. Kentucky knocks off Alabama by 1, 70-69. Whistle. Underneath, away from the ball. Massimino was going absolutely livid on the bench. Williams. And the All-American fouls out with 21 points.
That puts a lot of pressure on some people out here on the Georgetown Ball Club. You know, Winston and Tillman, especially at the guard.
That is the third time in 20 games this season that Reggie Williams has fouled out. And Dwayne Bryant will come in.
Oh, will they go to that full court trap? And what is John Thompson going to do offensively now with Reggie on the bench? It's going to be very fascinating what these two teams and two coaches decide to do, one offensively and defensively.
Turnover, Villanova. Conley Brown comes up with it. And the Wildcats trail by 3 with 2:40 to go. 83-80. Wilson skip pass. Mark Plansky along the baseline. Doug West turns it around, puts it up too strong. Georgetown rebound. Backcourt foul, Conley Brown. 12 of the last 14 Villanova points have come from the line. One field goal. Underneath, tussle for the ball, West.
I think Georgetown's going to have to make those free throws because if Villanova does not score, they're going to have to look to take those fouls.
20 seconds left in the shot clock. 2 minutes left in the game. Kenny Wilson, guarded by Bobby Winston, number 4. Wilson with head fake. And a foul today.
Oh, the reason for that, he doesn't want Taylor to pick up a cheap foul at the other end of the court. He needs him at the offensive end of the court.
Plansky has now tied his career high. And does not surprise it. And Plansky comes down, kicks it away to Harold Jensen.
Are these officials let them play? But that's the way it's supposed to be. The officials shouldn't dictate the outcome of the game. They let the kids play.
Plansky, 31. Back to Kenny Wilson. That's for 2. Not there. Air ball.
He almost missed the floor.
And there are some Villanova students here. I can hear the chant beginning in the background. Now Doug West. Villanova trails 86-81. 1:05 to go. Time to think about a three-pointer?
Yeah, a three-pointer or a quick two-pointer.
Jensen is their three-point artist, and he's on the high post. Now comes back.
Yep, good call there by the official.
Free throw line. 81% free throw shooter for the year. Foul. Trouble with the inbound pass. They finally get it in to Perry McDonald. He bounces back to Bobby Winston. 47 seconds to go, 86-83.
I should have taken a foul a little earlier.
Jensen lays off Bobby Winston. I'm really surprised they haven't gone out to get them.
Well, but I think Rollie is saying that we'll look to hit the three-pointer. We're not going to...
And how about that as the freshman Bryant blows the layup?
Well, that's why Rollie's a great coach.
Worked just like he drew it up. They give Bryant a free shot at the 2 points, and Kenny Wilson, the try set up Harold Jensen. They get it underneath to Rodney Taylor. The 2-point shot won't be there. And a foul in the backcourt.
Those kids right there at UK.
Bryant calmly cans the free, and it's an 87-83 game. 8 seconds to go. Rolls and falls in. Timeout call by Harold Jensen with 3 seconds to go. Timeout has been called with a 2-point edge.
If the guy is in trouble.
Foul in the backcourt on Kenny Wilson. And 2 seconds to go. And a 1-point Georgetown lead. 88-86.
3-point shot.
Gets the moat. Beckedam looks toward midcourt. Taylor lets it fly. And it took a while, but Georgetown wins it 89-86. The Chevrolet most valuable players of the game are Mark Plansky with 22 points for Villanova, Reggie Williams, who had 21 points and 6 rebounds for Georgetown. A check in the amount of $1,000 to be donated to each college's general scholarship fund to further assist qualified students in all chosen academic fields. So for Billy Cunningham, this is Verne Lundquist saying so long from the Capitol Center in Landover, Maryland.